You grow like walla onions, the big
Oh,
ones?
the best.
How do you dry them?
I don't. I just pick them out of the ground and eat them.
Oh, wow.
I'm not, you know, again, I keep coming to nature. Nothing in nature dries food. Eat it fresh.
Okay.
Now, if you have to preserve food, this is a good point. The best way to preserve food is drying. You maintain 95% of the food value when you dry. When you can, you lose 95% of the food value. When you can food, 95% of the food value is lost because you're bringing the food to high temperature. All the nutrients are in the water you're pouring off. I mean, if you really wanted to get nothing, that's what you do. I mean, it's just so bizarre how hard we work to fail. I mean, it's a lot of work to can. And you get no food value. It's just done. But drying is the ultimate because all you do is lose water and you can, you know, dehydrate produce and add water right back to where you started because it's all you lost is water. So drying is the best way to preserve food. But in most cases, if you have a good garden, you can have food all year long and the seasons are great. You're not bored. You're not eating the same thing every day. And it's just cool.
How deep should I put my chips in my potatoes?
Oh, it's about 8-10 inches.
18?
8 to 10 inches. And water well because they like water. Potatoes like water.
Okay.
So they're worth watering. So if you have a place in your yard that's low, that water lays, that's the perfect place to grow potatoes. I used to grow them around my pond over here because they were sub-irrigated, and they did great. Now I'm finding that my soil in the orchard is so good that my frustration is right now it's September and I want to harvest potatoes, and my potatoes are still blooming.
Oh my.
I'm saying, could you give me a break? I want to harvest. Would you back off and start dying back because I need to get you out? And they're blooming, and I'm not watering. Someone called me here last night from Ohio. He grew a pumpkin in wood chips that weighs 800 pounds. And he's sending me seed. And I'm trying to think, where am I going to put this thing?
Did you get some kind of a prize?
I don't know, but I'm just saying, I'm trying to think, where am I going to plant that thing? You know, the vine's going to get like 40 feet. And then what do you do with something that's 800 pounds? How do you move it? But it's a space. It's not a pile. The vine's going to go out 40 feet. So it's not like this little plant here. It's going to take space. You know, I'm thinking like, where do I put it?
You have tree trucks that are delivering you.
Yeah, I get my wood chips from Tree Services. You know, for them, it's a real advantage to have a local place to dump because they're making them every day, and most times they have to, you know, find places to dump and pay for it. They won't bring them here, but I have a place in Swin on an acre and a quarter, a duplex. It's right in town, and I have over 100 yards there all year long in there, and I'm hauling tons out and giving away because I get so much because it's so convenient.
Now, is there some chips that you will not use?
No, I'm so glad you asked. See, these questions, and as we progress on the tour, if you have questions, please ask because they're really helpful. See, if you go to school to the authorities, they'll tell you you can't use cedar, you can't use pine, and you can't use walnut. That's the worst. Never use walnut. It'll kill everything. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
So I asked the creator. I find the creator has a very awesome sense of humor. He told me, he says, I have no landfill somewhere off in the universe. I'm taking that stuff you can't use. I just started busting out. He has no landfill somewhere in the universe. He's taking all the stuff they say you can't use. And if you look back here along my woods, straight ahead over here, if you see in the front, it's full of cedar trees. And during the summer, like this one, when we have a really dry summer, the interior needles flag. It's called, you know, flagging. They turn brown. When the wind blows, all that's on the ground. No one's raking it up, no one's removing it, and everything around, look how dark green the fir trees are. Here's my sense. The tannic acid in the cedar, which you know is bad, as it lays on the ground and goes through the composting process, by the time that material gets to the root, tannic acid is not there anymore. Composting has changed it. And you see, our problem is as human beings is we think we can do it better. So we take that material and we till it in, which ties up the nitrogen, because the soil is just stressed trying to break it down, and then just messes everything up. So, and what was so cool is, you know, the creator is really helpful to me because he knows I'm a slow learner. So he had his tree service bring me an entire truckload of walnut wood chips. We're talking like exclusively walnut, 10 yards. So they dumped this 4.5-foot raised bed. Are you hearing me? 4.5-foot raised bed. This is in Squim where it doesn't rain, and they dumped it in August. So we're talking like major dry. Somehow a walnut went through the chipper, didn't break, and starts growing out of the top of this 4.5-foot non-irrigated bed. And I'm saying, you got my attention. You have my attention. One, there's no water, and two, nothing grows in walnut. The thing's growing really beautiful. I go there every 2 weeks to mow the grass. It's bright green, no yellow, no nitrogen type. And in October, it was 3 feet tall. My brother dug it up and had a root system 3 feet long, and he has a walnut tree in his yard. And I got that day that I get it. Everything in nature turns back to dirt in a very orderly, perfect fashion to feed the soil below it, and nothing's toxic. Nothing's toxic.
It totally makes sense, because I just had a Sitka Bruce brought down, chipped, and they're saying, great for your horse trails, but don't put in the garden. So, you know.
Yeah, but if you observe where it's standing, and you look at the weeds growing alongside it, how green they are.
Yeah.
Again, you have a brain, and you have good eyesight. Connect the dots. You can see these weeds out here in my wood chips, how green they are. We're talking like we've had no rain. This has been totally, and they just blew it on their own with no attention, and they're growing very well, and they're bright green. So it's telling me there isn't a nitrogen tie-up, that's why they're green, and there isn't an issue. They're growing fine. And so if you just, like I say, one thing if you can just take away from you today, this is going to so help you with all your questions, if you'll simply go to nature with your question, you'll find the answer in nature is very simple and very clear. It's not hidden. It's huge. And you're going to notice all day long as we go through the tour, as you ask questions, I'm going to go to nature for the answer, because it's so simple. And it's not refutable. It's been happening for 6,000 years recorded in human history, so it's not something that you can question. And it's very dependable. It's always done it that way. And so it's just really cool. So it's really helped me as I've done that, because I've thrown all the books away. I just go to nature. And it's just awesome. The answers are so simple, and they work. You're so welcome. Great question. So whatever wood chips you get, just be thankful for. They all work. Because here's, in the owner's manual, it makes a very interesting statement. From dust we came, from dust we return. The Creator made everything in such an awesome fashion it all biodegrades. Everything's recycled. It always goes back to dirt. It's just such a great design. Something I've really observed about the natural process, everything in nature is free, it's unlimited, and it's non-toxic. Conversely, everything they're selling you is expensive, it's limited, and it's toxic. It's very, very, very significant if you connect the dots. We got 5 minutes. Somebody else has a random question? We can.
I do. What's that little fern-looking thing under the?
That little fern thing is an asparagus.
Oh, okay.
That blew over here from the ones I have over there, and my whole orchard's full of them. And so in the fall, I go around and gather them all up and just plant some of the asparagus with, because you can see how well that's doing. This is just indicated. This orchard has not been watered or fertilized for 38 years, ever. No water. And that blew in on its own. You can see that it's doing quite well. It's not acting like I'm dehydrated. We had 70 days of no water and I'm looking like it. And I'm living in an environment where nitrogen is tie up. I mean, it's good looking for a seedling. Really. You know? And if you want to see something really interesting, if you look at my fruit trees here, you look close at the tips, they're putting out brand new growth. Like brand new little leaves. Like what happens in April. You know what time of year this is? This is fall. They're supposed to be going dormant. And they don't know how. They can't figure it out because they're eating so well that they can't stop growing. It's going to take a frost to shut them down because they won't stop. You know, to me, again, having been doing this for 62 years and working hard to fail, this really gets my attention. I just get off on it because this is just fun. I didn't do anything. I'm not watering. I'm not fertilizing. I'm not encouraging this. And this just happens all by itself with no effort. It's just fun.
Notice you don't have any deer fencing or anything up. How do you keep the
Well,
deer up?
I had a really great dog. That one over there is learning. She's not good yet. You can see this is a lot of deer damage here on the ends. The other dog I had was a chocolate Labrador, and she was awesome. She was an alpha, and this was her home, and anything that came here, she ran off. She was the best. You know, fences are, my neighbor, you can see my neighbor has fences, and they're an irritant. They look nice, but you have limited access, and they're quite expensive. You got to maintain them. I just love the openness of being able to at any point walk into my place, not have stuff in my face to deal with. And a good dog on your property is amazing because they just really. Now this dog is sweet. Tirza, come say hi to everybody. You can just see she's just the sweetest dog. You can pet her. She'll never leave you. But she's, you know, she's friendly. You need to have a dog that's. This is my home. You're not welcome. You know, kind of thing. And I've been praying, and she's starting to get it. It's really amazing how prayer is awesome. And she's starting to stay home at night, which she didn't. And she's barking at night at a deer. And so I'm seeing a major change, and I'm really thankful. Like, I think she's going to get it. Yeah. But it's taking a while. You know?
So how often do you add chips?
Great question. Again, the thing that's been really, the most wonderful thing that happened to me is when I came here and didn't have water, and I had to go to the Creator and ask him how to grow trees without water. He says, come to the woods and I'll show you. When I went out to the woods and he showed me how he grows trees without water, it changed my whole life.
Right,
and it taught me to be observant, to pay attention to what nature does. Are you following me?
Yeah.
So your question again?
How often?
How often? Yeah, wood chips.
So
when you come to soil that's been tilled and plants growing out that have mined all the minerals, the soil is deficient. It's very hungry. And when you first put wood chips down, it'll blow your mind how quickly they'll break down and be gone because the soil's hungry. What I'm finding now, after 38 years, I have a major foundation built. When I put wood chips down now, I go for years not having to add because my soil's not hungry. It's just so interesting to see the power of life force.
So you added chips.
When I first came, I put wood chips on my trees 16 inches deep.
Okay.
16 inches.
Okay, gotcha.
And here's what you're going to be told: you can't put wood chips up against tree trunks.
Yeah.
Anybody ever heard that stupid thing?
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, these people that come up with this stuff, they must be just mean. Can you imagine the irritation it would be to maintain little spaces around your tree trunks to keep the wood chips away from them? To let all kinds of garbage and weeds grow in? If you look at nature, track with me. If you go to nature in the woods, when the wind blows, needles and leaves will bank up against tree trunks a foot and a half deep, and no one pulls them away. The trees are fine. The stuff's full of air. It's not going to suffocate. What's up with keeping away from the tree trunk? I'm just telling you, man, the stuff they tell you is so stupid, labor intensive, and completely unnecessary, and actually an irritant. And we do those things. I'm just telling you, it just blows my mind. Like, really? You gotta be kidding. So you can put the wood chips as thick as you want on your trees, and ideally it's like money in the bank, so you can't put too many, because the more you put, the longer it's going to be for it to do it again. So just go for it.
Did you ever get any sun damage from the, unless they're a lot of exposed limbs there?
Well, how's your eyes working?
Pretty good.
Do you see any?
Not from here.
Well, walk around, check it out. Let me know. I haven't seen any. I'm just finding that question there really brings up something. You see, all the things they're telling you about what you have to do and how things are damaged, they're coming from a broken premise. A sterile, mineral deficient soil that plants are hardly living in, they're trying to fix. In nature, nothing's broken. Look at nature. No trees are sunburned. Are you following me? Because the environment's healthy. In a sterile environment where they've mined the soil, the tree's weak. It's not well, and it's going to suffer. I had the most interesting experience. I had this awesome farmer came from Italy. He was just an amazing man. You know, Italians are not to themselves. They're very outgoing. And you could look at his body, his skin, you could tell this guy's been farming his whole life. I mean, he wore it. And as I'm sharing things, he's in my face, says, "You can't do that. That won't work. You got to do this." And I says, "Well, come, let's look," you know. And when he saw this tree here with all these holes in it, he says, "Man, my cherry tree didn't die." I looked at him and says, "Your cherry tree wasn't well. My tree's not dying. It's not impacting that." And you can just see in his face this shift starting to happen. Like, whoa, that makes sense. So I took him over to. All my trees are dwarf. You understand? You understand how they make dwarf trees? Does everybody understand how dwarf trees are created?
No.
What they do is they find a rootstock, a certain rootstock that doesn't develop a large root system. And that's what they graft into. Because if you have a small root system, that will impede the tree from getting big. Because it can't eat well, it can't grow well. Small root system, small tree. And they always tell you with dwarf trees, you got to stake them. So I have a 9-year-old dwarf plum. Are you hearing me? Dwarf plum. That have root suckers coming out 35 feet radius, not diameter, radius. 35 feet. So I'm showing this Italian farmer this. And he's flipping out. He says, "That's impossible! The roots go only as far as the drip line." You know, he'd been to school. And I says, "Well, go check it out." So he snaps off a piece of it, he walks 30 foot over, and he lines it up and he flips out. It's the same foliage. And you could just see all of a sudden he had this sense like, I got lied to my whole life. I've been working completely unnecessarily hard for no reason. It just totally changed his life because he realized in this environment you can't stop growth. See, my challenge, you see, if you look at my trees, you see how they're pruned very open? You know why I do that? I'm trying to reduce the amount of fruit I get. Did you hear me? I'm making an effort to get less, and it's not working. It's very frustrating. Abundance can be a challenge. And see, I'm constantly trying to stop growth around here, trying to stop it, because it just won't. It just does well, you know. Where conversely, everybody else is trying to get stuff to grow, and it's not because you got deficient soil.